Hey, what's up? It's Tony from Street Church. Welcome to the Inside Job Podcast, the show that encourages internal change from the inside so we will be the sources of light that we were created to be on the outside. So listen, I'm super excited about this particular series. You just tuned into week 1 of a series that we have entitled, Are You Willing? Are You Willing? I think that's always the question that we have to be willing to answer when we have people in our lives who are going through it, who are living in the middle of train wreck situations, and if we want to be an agent of change and hope and life in their lives, right? That's the question on the floor. Are we willing? Are we willing to roll up our sleeves and to dig in our heels and to hunker down with them and to get involved in the middle of their messes and to be a source of light, right? Are we willing? So this week we're going to talk about our willingness versus our ability. Willingness versus ability. So it might not appear to you this way, but in a galaxy far, far away, in a different life, I was actually a pretty good martial artist. I used to do Taekwondo years ago, and I also used to teach. Loved teaching kids Taekwondo. So I remember once in a while I would gather up all of the brand new kids, and I would just ask them a few questions. I would say, who here is really, really strong? And I'd see some hands raised in the crowd, and then I would go, okay, who here is really, really fast? Hands would go up. Okay, who here can kick really high? Hands going up left and right. Then I used to say to them, I said, you know what? None of that stuff matters. None of it. It doesn't matter what you're capable of. It matters what you're willing to do. That's what's going to separate you and make you a good martial artist. Not your ability so much, but what you're willing to do, right? That's what's going to separate you. And I think in our desire to get involved in people's lives who are hurting and to be a source of light, it's much the same thing, right? One of my favorite verses in the scriptures, maybe my favorite, and this might sound kind of weird to you, but I love the first 4 words of the Bible. Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1. In the beginning, God. In the beginning, God. I like it so much because it lets me know that there was this being who was the beginner of the beginning. So therefore, he had no beginning. He had no source. He was always there. And if that's true, and I believe it's true, what that means in terms of his abilities and what he's capable of is this. All bets are off. What that means is there's nothing he's not capable or able to do, right? Infinite capabilities. If he had no beginning, if he always was, if he was eternal, if he was the source of all things, infinite ability. But then Jesus comes on the scene, and he says something that even blows me away more than that. This same God who said and was in the beginning God, in John chapter 10 and verse number 17, verse number 18, he says this. And I'm just going to read it, and then I'm going to let you know afterwards why it's so impactful to if we want to be agents of change in people's lives who are suffering. John chapter 10, verse number 18. This is what Jesus says. He says, no one can take my life from me. I sacrifice it voluntarily. So think about this for a second. Jesus changed the course of human history. Okay? I believe that my, eternal destination hinges on Jesus, right? And if that's true, and I believe it's true, it doesn't hinge on his capabilities or his abilities, but it hinges on his willingness to voluntarily give up his life. I mean, think, human history and my eternal destination does not hinge on, in the beginning, God. It's not contingent upon his capabilities, upon his vast, infinite abilities, but rather it hinges on his willingness to voluntarily be willing to give up his life. So why that's so encouraging, in me is, it's because, listen, I have limitations. I'm sorry. I know that you might not think I do, but I have limitations. We all have limitations, right? We have physical limitations. We have emotional limitations. I wish I could dunk a basketball. It ain't happening, okay? It ain't happening. I always wanted to. It just ain't happening. Limitations, right? I don't have a master's degree. I don't have my doctorate. There's certain limitations I have, academically, right? We all have them. But what that verse lets me know is if human history hinges and could change on the willingness of God to voluntarily surrender his life, then it takes me off of the hook. And it lets me know that the most important thing I need to do if I want to make a difference in people's lives who are going through it is to be willing to do it, right? It takes me off the hook of waiting around until, I achieve a certain level, or if I earn a certain degree, or if I waiting around until I become something I'm not, or I earn something. It takes me off the hook from waiting around, and it lets me know that the priority of my life needs to be my willingness to hunker down and to love people and to be a source of light to people. That's what matters most, right? And for me, it's so liberating and it's so freeing, right? That I don't have to wait around, until I achieve a certain level, or I don't have to get hung up on what I'm capable of doing, on my abilities, and I don't have to let my lack of abilities or my lack of capabilities in certain areas prevent me from loving people and from attempting to make a difference in their lives, right? I think we oversell ability and we undersell willingness, right? I think our willingness flies under the radar sometimes, and we underestimate the importance of being willing to be an agent of change in somebody's life. That's what matters most. That's what matters most. Week 1 down. Next week, we are going to talk about the impact of willingness, the impact it can make on somebody's life and changing the trajectory of their lives. So, until then, you and yours have a great week.